You're listening to Operation Self Reset, episode number 93 with David Fox from Goalie.com. What is going on, Reset Nation? Welcome back to another great episode of Operation Self Reset. I am Jake Naraki, and I am here to challenge, inspire, and motivate you to change just a little bit in your own personal life. As you know, this podcast has been going gangbusters, and it's all because of you, the loyal listeners, the fans. I really do appreciate the love and support you guys have been pouring into myself, and then, of course, sharing it to your other friends and family, and it's really been impactful. I started this project 2 years ago, not because I wanted to become world famous from this podcast. Maybe it'll come to that someday. I don't know. I really don't care, but it was because I knew that there were some fundamental principles in my own personal life that allowed me to live happy, live successful, which my definition is probably different than yours of success, and allow me to achieve things when I thought I could not. And that is why I got the inspiration to help you, the listener, achieve your own personal best. I mean, that's what it's all about, right? I'm not going to bore you with the tips and the tools because we know what we need to do. It's just getting over that mental hurdle. Life is not about the mechanics. 80% of life is mental, 20% is the mechanics behind it, the how-to. But that 80% is so challenging, so daunting, but we never really focus on that 80%. We always focus on that 20%. We always want the faster gadget. We want the faster car. We want better this, better that. We think that's going to allow us to become a better individual, but it does not, as we all know. So without my little rant there, I want to slide into the interview today, speaking about helping you improve yourself. The gentleman we have on today, his name is David Fox. You might have heard me speak of David numerous times on the podcast already. He is the founder of Goalie.com, Goaly.com. It's a worldwide platform that has brought in the most elite coaches from around the world to help you improve yourself. There's so many different categories of assistance and whatever you personally need that I would probably bore you with all the different topics and ways that Goalie.com can assist you in enhancing your life. So today I brought on the founder, David Fox. I was lucky enough and able to meet with him and be a part of Goalie.com. We kind of go into all different aspects, and I don't want to bore you anymore because it is a very a detailed-oriented podcast. David really drags us into his life, and we really get to see behind the scenes of what we quote, what we think of, quote-unquote, a CEO or a founder. It's not all glory, but as you can see, his mindset has allowed him to do some amazing things, and hopefully, and I know you, the listener, will get some valuable tools and ideas from this interview because it's just so impactful. His ideas can really, really help you in your own personal life. So enjoy this interview, and we will see you on the backside. David, my man, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jake. This is so exciting.
David, you are the mastermind behind this great project that is going to enhance people's lives, truly. Obviously, you know that this podcast is called Operation Self Reset, helping people change their own personal lives. And it's an interesting concept. You found me just by luck of a lady. I wrote on somebody else's blog. You were on that blog. You noticed I made a comment. You kind of backtracked myself. You and I got in contact. We had a good vibe going on, and then we connected, and now I am a part of Goalie.com. And to hear, I guess, your story and where you came from is super inspiring. And like I said before, feel if you want to indulge as much or as little as you want. But I really think where you came from to where you are now is truly inspiring. So if you wouldn't mind sharing that story.
Yes, I grew up in foster care. I come from Norway, and I was grown up the first years in a village on the west coast, and there was a lot of violence. My mom was a bipolar, an alcoholic, and was dating a guy that was very violent. So when I was 2 years, I was moved out and into a foster care, and this was in between like two mountains. There was no contact with any other people. and the only friends I had there were actually a bunch of goats. So I spent 3 years of my life with goats, which is kind of strange for a lot of people when I tell them. So I had this rule: you can joke about anything around me, but not with goats, because they literally took better care of me than most of the people, both in the social care system and also when it came to the foster family. So this foster care family was absolutely horrendous. I had to drink from the toilet. I was treated much worse than any animal. But I didn't actually know any different lifestyle. It was the
Yeah.
only life I knew. But I was always longing and waiting for my mom to come and pick me up again. And I was always sitting, watching the road and waiting for this car to come back. And it took 3 years. And I was taken out of this family after they actually tried to throw me from a cliff. They tried to drown me, and they burned my hand in on the kitchen pretty severely. So a psychologist actually saw this and reported it, and I was moved out. But this process took a very long time, so I was actually kidnapped by my own biological mom, thank God. And yeah, it was pretty dramatic. And I still remember this day when she took me away and she promised me never that I never had to go back there. And I was sleeping in this couch, and I just said that I've been to war, and I just fell asleep. And I remember this like silence I had in my body because I'd just been so stressed and so anxious and so afraid for so many years. And I was always afraid night and day. And it took a lot of time not feeling that stress and that anxious feeling in the body after so many years of trauma. But I got my third family, and they were absolutely amazing. It was literally like coming home. And they had no idea what had happened to me. So when I started running over the floors as a goat and hitting people with my head, they were a little bit shocked. I still had some goat behavior.
You would baa randomly at the dinner table or something, sure.
No, but if I got angry, then I would go down on my knees and I would literally start like hitting them with my head. And if I got angry, I could literally just go total black, like I just had these blackouts. And one time, I actually, with my hands, I literally just ripped off the entire lawn for my grandmother's house, and the entire family was standing there just like in shock and just seeing this machine just ripping up the lawn, just like this insane type of anger that just came out of me. And the only place I could kind of let it go was with my dog running to the mountains several times a week. Because when I was angry, there was like nothing that could kind of tame it. So the only way I knew how to kind of get it out of me was going on the mountaintop. So I spent a lot of time in the mountains growing up and in nature alone or with my dog.
Well, yeah. Well, dogs are the best friend.
They literally are. And or a goat.
Or a goat, right?
And I had a lot of sorrow, and my heart was absolutely broken because one of the absolute best friends that I had when I grew up was a goat. And just to be evil, these foster parents I had killed this goat with an axe in front of my eyes. And I think in that moment, I just lost all faith in humans. It totally broke my heart. It was literally the only one that I ever had. And I had this wound in my heart, and it was so strange. It's been there the entire time. And it's been something that I always have to like keep working on, because it's just one of the biggest traumatic hits that I know and that I remember. And going through, like, moving into this new family where nobody knew what happened to me, they took me to this social worker that I had to speak to. And I think I was 9 years old or 10 years old. And the first thing I said to her was, they killed my goat. And I just started crying. And I had all of this pain and all of this chaos inside my head. And it was so hard, sitting, being a part of like the school, the classroom, friends, because I had so much other things going on in my head. I didn't know where I came from. I didn't know I didn't know my situation, didn't know what happened to me. There were just so much traumatic episodes. And she actually helped me puzzling back my life together. So it was getting more and more organized so I can focus on school. Of course, it was a little bit of a bullying because I was very strange. I
Sure.
didn't connect with many people. So most of the time I was just standing there singing for myself in the schoolyard or walking to the mountain with my dog,
Right.
which was perfectly fine because I connected with something far much greater. I think I really, really connected with nature. And I always had this strange feeling, even though this family I moved into and the previous family, they were not religious. But I had this strange belief in God. Like I didn't know what it was. I just knew there was something there. And growing up, I just always trusted this intuition that I had been given. And it really literally sent me on quite an adventure in my life. And, and now I'm here talking to you after traveling the world, meeting so many of the world's greatest life coaches and business coaches. And it's all been a part of this journey, starting actually with, you know, growing up in a family that has been just so abusive. It's been a journey where I try to heal myself, try to find the best strategies, try to find the best people that can help me become a better person, that can help me remove all of this sorrow and anger that I had inside of me. And it's so strange. It's literally gone.
Yeah. To be honest, obviously I know you. You and I have talked numerous times. We met, we've, drank and ate and hung out. And if I did not know this backstory, I would think you are just the most energetic, joyful, grateful individual out there. I mean, you are just an awesome person. I mean, really, it's true. I mean, anybody that you hang around with or would say the exact same thing that I'm saying right now. I'm not just doing that to pump you up, but right. It's amazing though, your story from where you were to where you are now is unbelievable, because you did not, or you maybe you still do. I don't know. I guess that's why I'm asking. Like, hold grudges. Like, it seems like that was a part of your journey, and that was good because it got you to where you are right now. But along the same light, you do not use that to fall back on and say, oh, well, the reason why I'm socially awkward is because I talked to a goat when I was younger, or I was.
I think I can still be a little bit socially awkward, but
Well,
I have this humor, and I kind of hide sometimes behind, the laughter, because it's just, we just say and do stupid things sometimes. Nobody's gonna die, and everything I do, it's from a good heart. I would never, in any attempt, try to hurt someone, and it's actually the only thing I'm really afraid of is hurting people. And I think if you always come from a good heart and speaking from your heart, then there is nothing to worry about.
yeah.
There's more enough for everyone out there.
Yeah, and that's really good point. And that's a really good point, because not too many people would talk like that, or to have that mindset like that, and speak from the heart. And especially in our society where you want to kind of portray yourself as a cool individual, or really outgoing, or you're fashionable and all that stuff, to really kind of boil it back down to the basics of just speaking from who you are, I think is super powerful in itself, and I guess a follow-up question to that is, how does one open up to that level? Does it take time? Does it take time for these wounds to heal? Does it take time for you to really identify, like for you connected with nature, you connected with God, you connected with things throughout your life to kind of got you out of that funk? Do you feel that's necessary for people to kind of pull themselves out of a dark situation?
I think because it's very easy for us humans when, for example, when it hurts in our soul, when it hurts inside of us, it's almost like having this tooth pain, and you only thing you can focus on is this tooth pain, and you keep like being almost self-obsessive about the tooth. So all your energy goes inwards. And I learned that that is not very good for me, at least. If I start just focusing on the pain and how badly everybody treated me, then I'm just going to sit there as a victim and not go anywhere in life.
Right.
So I was more like, I got out of this situation, and when I came to this amazing family where I got love, and nobody was beaten and nobody was treated like shit or threatened to be killed or anything like that. At first I was angry because I lost childhood. I was angry at the world, I was angry at everyone. But when this disappeared, you know, it is also kind of like an adventure. Like all of this pain that we go through, you can really, 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 in the end, also feel like all the different varieties of life. If you really, really suffer, then you can really, really also enjoy all of the good things in life. And it was a little bit like perspective, because some people will say, oh my God, you drank from the toilet. When I was little, I kind of had to split it down to atoms, and I had to think, well, a toilet is just water, and then it would probably smell a little bit because it's a little bit of a urine, but in the end, it's just water.
Sure.
And I at least had water. There is people all around the world that don't even have water, and they get cholera and they die. So in every place where I started kind of attacking the pain and try to make myself as a victim, I had to always find an excuse and say, people have it much worse than me, and I have been given this amazing opportunity to raise again and have a family and have a network around me that works. And there are so many kids out there that never have that opportunity at all.
Yeah, what you just said there was perspective is unbelievably powerful. Anybody that is listening to this podcast, you complain you got in a really bad car accident. Well, you know what? You should be grateful that you have a car. Not too many people have the ability to have a car. I mean, anything that is in your life right now, it's all about perspective. And the way that you broke down you drinking water out of a toilet, which to some people would be the lowest of the low for some individuals, is almost the high of the high of other individuals that are not listening to this, that are struggling in third world countries, that would just be grateful to have a sip of decently clean water and not get sick from it. And that's really cool that you brought that up, because sometimes we lose that perspective. We're caught up in so much. We always want so much more. We don't appreciate and put it into literally perspective what other people don't have. Do you still utilize that tool today? Do you still use that when times get tough in your business or personal life?
Yeah, because I always think that somebody's praying for whatever I'm throwing away or complaining about. Somebody's sitting there praying to their knees, reading The Secret, doing everything to just have a little bit of what we have. Yeah. So when you're hugging your children, there is somebody just praying for their entire life that they want to have their own child. Or taking on, and going in your car, going into your own house. There is just so many prayers up there. And we're always fortunate, because I've been very obsessed with always finding the right destination. And when you also start to master that the only destination that you actually need or have is now, then you you can't give too much power to the past, rather than focusing on what you have now. And that also puts things in perspective. So for me, it's just it's been a constant learning, just bringing because when I'm very angry or when I've been very, very sad, it is not because I've been here in the now, because it's very rarely, this terrible things going on that happened before. It's usually because I'm so over focused in, I'm stuck between where I want to be and where I am now, and I can't get out of it. I just want to be, I want to have Goldie launched. Yeah. I want to work with. I remember sitting when I was starting this project. I was sitting in my apartment in Oslo, and it was cold outside, and I was sitting in my boxers, and I was actually watching The Real Housewives of New Jersey that I know you hate, Jake.
Yeah, I do.
And one of these coaches came on the show, and I was like, wow, she's really, really good. Terry Cole. And now she's also one of the coaches on Goalie. And it was just so funny, because many of the coaches that I researched for 2 years, they're now on this platform that was just a dream. And it's just a ridiculous dream. You can't come from nowhere, being no one, and build something like this. And now suddenly there are so many amazing professionals on board. And it's not a little project anymore. It's more like a movement. So it's really amazing. I feel just so blessed for everything I experienced in my life, because it's literally like an adventure. So sometimes when I go to sleep at night, I just start laughing. I'm like, seriously, is this a real story? Is this true? It's unbelievable. And the people I meet, Jake,
yeah,
and you met some of the people and my friends in this network, it's just incredible. Like the knowledge and the wisdom and their life stories. And I love stories.
Yeah.
It cracks me up, and they're just so much great energy, and they're just full heart. And I love that.
Yeah, you know what you said there about your life is an adventure. To everybody that's listening, drink what David is throwing down, because he is really talking about some practical advice that you need to implement in your life. If you are feeling not worthy, depressed, you're really riding low, listen to what David's saying. I mean, he's been in some very difficult situations, and the way that he approaches life, to be able to know that every incident, good or bad, is part of his journey. It's an adventure. He has fun with it, and then to laugh about it is remarkable. That's a man that is going to be doing some great things for others, and along the way, enjoying every minute of it. Speaking of goalie, I guess obviously you got the idea, or you started collecting some of these great coaches from people that you saw on TV, and you thought, wow, they had some really powerful stuff. But where did the core message, the idea of goalie came from? I mean, was it something that you realized that you were into personal development and you wanted to make that accessible to a lot of other people out there, or what was it?
I never tried. Like growing up, I had to have a psychologist 2 different times in my life. It was tough periods. But when I was starting, getting engaged, like what was happening now and what I wanted to do in the future and goals and stuff like that, they weren't interested. And I found out that the combination of having a psychologist that worked with the trauma and then somebody who worked with, the now and all the goals that I had that could help me and participate and join the conversation about everything that I wanted to do strategy based on the goals. That was coaching. So I wasn't into the self-development. I was more into the personal growth as soon as possible, get me to where I'm going. And I met some amazing coaches, and I thought, how is it possible that some people can sit on all this knowledge, and it's not a part of the school system, or it should be in the constitution that people learn these things. It made me transform so quickly, and I'm still transforming. Like I have no idea what even happened the last year. Just like people don't even recognize me. It's amazing to have these amazing tools. And I was thinking back because I was lying in a bed in Barcelona in my apartment there, and I was working on this project, and it was supposed to be a video portal for coaching. I was thinking, what did I do to get where I am today? And I'm crazy with my lists, and I'm crazy with my goals. I just always have goals every day and lists and update them, as I told you on Evernote, is constantly updating. Because I like to track and I like to have a list. And if I can't sleep, I usually make a list and I go to bed, because then I kind of put everything out there that I need to get done that can settle my mind. And the first strategy that I ever saw was actually my mom and dad in the third family, where we're going on a holiday to Bulgaria with my sister and brother. And every vacation, I would totally snap. And I think I was around 10 years old, 11 years old. I would snap for 2 whole months because I didn't know what was going to happen. And that made me feel unsafe. And the feeling unsafe made me, scared that I'm going to die or get moved to another family and people would never pick me up again. Just terrified. But I didn't have, the vocabulary to say this. So I would just snap and scream and be crazy and terrorize my family. Yeah. So what my mom did, she put up a calendar 6 months before we were going, so I could see all the dates moving down to when we were leaving. I could see when we were gone and when we were coming back. She put up pictures on how it looks where we were going to live, and how the plane looked, and how the beaches were looking, and how the food looked, and how the restaurants. So I could see everything every day over the breakfast table, and I can follow this with my mind. So it was like a 6-month training program. So that vacation actually went perfectly because I had then been able to adapt to this change that was coming. And that's what we sometimes have to do, maybe more use the focus on adapting to the change and working with the change itself.
Wow.
So it was absolutely amazing for me. And I was lying in the bed in Barcelona thinking, that's my first strategy. And I started thinking, it's all about this. We just have to share our best strategy with each other. Instead of, reading one book after another, can we just find the coaching expert that is an expert? So if I have post-traumatic stress, or you, Jake, have ADHD, where's the best coach that can motivate me in this field, that can help me with parenting if my children have ADHD, that can help me with weight loss, that can help me with addiction? Like, I want people that are experts to coach me and to show me the best strategies so I can reach my goal on somebody's experience that has amazing techniques, that has amazing tools that I can use right now on video. And when we were Googling around, when I was looking at after a parent coach in the first part of the project, it was absolutely impossible to find who was good because on a coaching directory, there is 8,000 coaches.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And they all are, entrepreneurial coach and life coach and business coach. They are everything. They can coach you in your entire life. I'm more focused in what type of life experience did you have? How did you overcome it? And how do you use your coaching tools to empower those so people can go from A to B in the shortest amount of time for long-lasting change? I wanted people to could really stand there on a video and share about their transformational stories and share strategies that they have written books on or coached for many, many years. So that was a little bit more tricky.
Sure.
But now we are having this amazing project. We started up in Barcelona, we flew to Copenhagen, we flew to London, we flew to New York, and we flew to LA. And we flew a lot of coaches into these cities. And we have 35 coaches that recorded over 1,500 videos. And each video is 1 to 2 minutes long. And my goal was that each of these videos will be able to change one person's life. So every time we see a video, we have to have this feeling, I want to share this with, and then you have to think of a person. So it's like a TED Talk. It's not ideas worth spreading, it's strategies worth doing right now.
Yeah. Nice. That's a good one. I like that. You better capture that phrase right there. Yeah, no doubt.
I think it's a little bit too similar to TED.
That's okay.
It's great. You have these long talks about all of these wonderful ideas, but how do you utilize this in your life right now if you just have 60 seconds or 2 minutes? Like when you look at the YouTube video today and it's 5 minutes, like, okay, maybe next year because it's too long. So we made every strategy super short. So every step is short. So you can break it down into these little pieces. The only videos that are a little bit longer is hypnotherapy, guided visualizations or guided meditations, because you can't break them down. You have to breathe and relax to get into that state. But it was absolutely amazing. Some of these strategies will change people's lives forever. There are strategies for people who experience mother guilt. There are strategies for people who have ADHD, who need motivation, who wants to go from being sad and in the blues right now to becoming super happy. And these coaches are so powerful. They have written the best-selling books for the New York Times. They are on the Today Show. They are, in almost every media outlet that you can find that is huge. They have been. And, they cost up to $1,000 an hour, and they're giving their best strategies for free. And I'm so grateful that they did this. And I'm so happy that we can get like London coaches and US coaches together on the platform, because now we have like the really, really fancy American coaches that really knows how to market themselves. And we have also, it's just this range of, the earlier president of the ICF to the TV star coach. So I'm just so thrilled. Like, I can't believe that this actually happened. It's so funny.
Oh, for sure. David, great explanation of what Goalie is. I mean, I'm excited to even go check it out. Like, obviously I'm on the platform, we record in New York and in London, and I'm very blessed to be a part of it. But the way that you presented that is truly awesome. And the great thing is you're not thinking small scale. You're not thinking, oh, I just want to create a nice little website so people can come and check it out. And if they want something, they can kind of, read around. You're thinking, no, I want to pull people from around the world, the best of the best, people that have struggled to now they're doing great things. How do they do it? How can I implement it into my own life? And I want it now. I mean, that almost instant gratification, as quick as you could probably go in line, get a hamburger at McDonald's. You can get, from sad to happy, from going berserk and overloaded with, craziness organization to being totally everything in line, I think is marvelous. And to kind of go back a couple of steps, the way that your mother, that the third family that you had, how she broke down and kind of prepared you for that vacation, of having images and outlines and everything to kind of prepare you. You obviously brought that towards Goalie because that's the way how you're kind of unfolding this platform, allowing people to use it in small little chunks to kind of jab around and to see what fits them personally, correct?
Yes, and also I was thinking out of from my own mind, I can't focus on something for more than 2 minutes. I usually say like 2 minutes and I'm gone. So it's ironically enough, we just put that line on Goalie, so all of the videos are up to 2 minutes, and I think it works perfectly because I think like after 2 minutes I get a little bit bored. And the most interesting thing though, because people ask me like, what is a good coach? And especially after this journey, people ask me like, who's your favorite coach? And every coach I have now in my life is a favorite in different fields, because one is extremely good at phobias, one is extremely good in addictions. And one of the coaches, for example, was a heroin addict and was sitting in LA, almost had to amputate her arm because of addiction, and was living on the outside, homeless. And all of the other homeless people, of course, knew her name, and she was just like understood. She just knocked her head on the floor. She didn't even, had one more day to live if she didn't pull herself together. There's just this very, very powerful people on board that have so much wisdom. And she's been now in sobriety for 26 years, and she has just this tremendous experience in addiction. And there are coaching professionals out there, not coaching professionals that just read a book or took a certification, but has experience, so they are making their own niche, and it just becomes so interesting.
Yeah.
And
Go on.
sorry.
No, I was just going to say, what I guess when you do start meeting these coaches and you realize, wow, these people have amazing stories, and you're trying to feel that, wow, this could really truly help somebody. Do the coaches, when you present this project to them, are they like, yes, finally this needs to be out there? Are they excited knowing that their 1 minute video, literally a 60-minute video, could be the difference maker between somebody going even worse into their life to finally coming out of that rabbit hole and seeing what glory, how great life can be?
Yeah, because I really like Ali Campbell's description on what type of niche coach he is, because he says speed. In most of his YouTube videos, he cures people's phobias or problems or challenges in under 9 minutes. And I think it's possible. But when it comes to deep transformational change, it takes time. But I think the people that can guide us towards the change, that can point us in the right direction, they don't have to like point in many different directions. They don't have to stand there and explain where you have to go. They just have to lead you in the right way. You have to kind of do the transformation and change yourself. But the techniques and the guiding and the inspiration and motivation, that is something that a brilliant coach can help you with in a couple of minutes. And that is also what I think grew out of Goalie. That was just exceptional. We gathered together over $300,000 in prizes that we're going to give out to the community when the community is growing as well. So people that can afford working with these coaches one-to-one, they can win a session with each of the coaches on Goalie every month. On top of that, if you want to become a coach yourself, many of the coaches have their own coaching academies in school, and they have the prices is up to $10,000 and up to $50,000 value actually, and you can actually win educational programs at that, and also scholarships on Goalie to do as you did, Jake, record with us and do the whole process with making your strategies and promotional and everything you need to be out there on video.
Yeah. No, it's a powerful platform. I'm excited that it's out there. I guess the question, kind of thinking for a second, why did you want to make this so big for people? I mean, why not just create a blog or something? What is the power behind the video? Why do you feel these short, bursts are really going to hit home? Obviously, we know, you get distracted and you kind of lose interest and stuff like that. But really, what's the magic behind it?
Well, most of the internet is going to be browsing through videos in just a couple of years. They say from 75% to 86%. Some people are up to 90%. So if you still have a blog where you're writing, you might consider going over to video. On the other hand, if you Google anything, ADHD coaching, weight loss, quit smoking, addiction on YouTube, you will be spammed with so much bullshit. There is just many people trying to sell you things, and we don't try to sell people things. There is so much bad quality, and there is even people that would just, drag your mind in every direction just to get your attention. When you come to Goalie, there is at least everything is thought through, everything is highly produced, everything is high quality, and everything is made to help you go forward. We're not trying to fool you in any direction to try to sell you anything, and it's given from somebody who really, really desire to help you.
Sure. I guess walk us through the process of, I go onto goalie.com. Is there like a search bar? If I'm looking for addiction, I just type in addiction and numerous coaches are going to pop up and I can kind of pick around, look at different videos and see what suits my needs.
On the beginning on Goalie, we're just going to launch 15 of the coaches. So there's going to be different strategies popping up on the homepage. So you can just scroll down and you will see different types of strategies that you can achieve. And they're just amazing. And many of these strategies are something that everybody should just see. And we are, you just have to check it out in the beginning and give us a lot of feedback, because in the beginning, we're opening up in a small scale and we want everybody's feedback. And the most interesting thing is, if you see a strategy and it changes your life, or if you see something that inspires you and motivates you to create big change, big transformation in your life, if you send us a video, during the entire year, we will be pulling out people that gets these prizes that is up to $10,000 per person. And I love that with the project, because these coaches have all said yes to contribute with so many awards. And I think that also can create a lot of inspiration and motivation for people to really put themselves on the hook and start committing to the change that they want to be.
Yeah. You obviously work with some amazing coaches. You met every single one of them. You've done the research. You made sure they're legit. You made sure they're world-renowned and interesting, genuine people. You have learned so much. And I'm not going to ask you the question of who's your favorite coach, but what are a couple of things that you did not do before starting coach or goalie? What did before, we talked a little bit off mic about your morning routine and kind of, preparing yourself before bed and getting up, not checking email and stuff like that. What are a couple of things that you put into your life, with talking to these amazing coaches and seeing what they can help people with?
There is a lot of things, but one of the things that I think I never truly done in my life until goalie was giving people I work with 100% trust.
Okay.
I always been a little bit on the fence with everyone. And one of the coaches in London, he really tapped into this, and he really made some type of a core shift in me. And one of the people that I actually hired as the CEO, Elizabeth, she's from California and was working for Lego here in Copenhagen. And I almost kind of fooled her with me. She said she didn't want to work full time in any project, and I showed her goalie, and she just jumped on board, and she became the CEO. So I don't have to, have the serious job,
right?
And the guy talking with all the coaches, and she was just absolutely amazing. But any type of relationship can only go so far without trust. You can work with anyone and have any type of relationship if you don't base it on trust. And it took a lot of time and effort for me to really just look at everyone I was working with and giving them a lot of trust. It also gives you a lot of risk. And I felt that on my hand when I was traveling. You get disappointed when you trust people that you work with, because sometimes they don't deliver. But Elizabeth, that I've been working with now, she over-delivered. And, I'm just so happy that I can see that the trust that I have given in the people that I truly, truly started loving and caring for in this project, it has given so much more to the project, so much more to the coaches joining the project, and it will give tremendous value to the people trusting us and going to goalie.com to find personal development on short videos with amazing coaches from all over the world.
To dive into that a little deeper, there's a lot of people out there that do have trust issues. It might be their spouse, it might be a coworker, a business partner, or even a close friend. I guess, do you have any tangible things though for them to take away from what you just said? Is it just letting them be and taking a step back and not putting pressure on them to kind of help them be themselves? Or what do you think it is to kind of allow yourself to be a little more relaxed when it comes to trusting people do what they do best?
Well, I really like when, I don't know what movie that was, but in one movie, someone said, if you're going to sail on the sea, and if you're an amateur and there is this rough wind, many people, they would just start pulling their sails, and of course you would just flip the entire boat. But if you just let the sail go and you just flow with the wind, the sailboat will maneuver perfectly. And I think that is how it is also in most relationships, because we can never control anyone.
Right.
That's not
We think we
possible.
can.
We think we can. So it's not about so much maybe always putting the trust into someone, but putting the trust into everything around you, that everything will be okay anyway. And every time you get disappointed, it's because you try to control reality, but reality wasn't like that. So whatever happening is happening, and you won't be able to control it, but you can give your honest feedback and set your core values on what you will respect and what you will tolerate around you. I think it's more about that. And for me, it was really about looking back into my life. And again, I came with this goat situation. And all of this was, of course, also filmed behind the scenes for making this project. So it is a little bit embarrassing to watch that. But somehow I coded in my brain that for me, love was just pain. And trusting people was always pain. And if you coded yourself that when you trust people, you get disappointed. When you trust people, you feel that you suddenly can get beaten down. When you trust people, someone can take everything away from you. Then you put a very deep coding into you that can be pretty problematic to live with in a day-to-day basis. And I think the best thing you can do is there's a lot of amazing also guided meditations out there, and many of them we're going to also add on YouTube, on Goalie, and some of them from Goalie to YouTube as well to link into us. And they go on trust and giving self-love and love. And when you hear your word self-love, you kind of, I get like, oh God, please don't start with that.
Right.
But it's really, really powerful when you go into the core of your being and you start talking to yourself and you start appreciating yourself and the journey you have been on. Because this is the interesting thing. I am talking to you, and whoever is listening, if they're listening now or in 50 years, we are all talking to each other. If you put it this a little bit ironically speaking, we're all talking to each other because of a goat that was killed 25 years ago.
Sure.
Someplace on my timeline, something shifted, and I went on this journey for my healing. And the same thing happened with you, Jake. Somewhere in your life, you found out that no, this is not good enough. I want to grow. I want to become a better father, a better businessman, a better coach. And in these journeys, we meet, and everybody who's listening are also searching for something. So if they're searching somewhere on the line, they were also in pain. So we're all connected with this pain, and we're all giving each other healing through our pain. So I think that also is so beautiful sometimes to think about, because it is an eye opener for many people when you start looking back and you see that all of this misery and things that we've gone through, it's over now if we just let it go. And after this entire trip, I always say to myself, let it go, then you can let it grow. Because I really understood after this trip, the less I have inside my head, the better it is. Before we want to make everything so logical and resonate with everything. And it's so good just breathing and being and getting things done. And, when you just let your mind flow as it's supposed to, everything just goes back to normal.
Wow. David, deep, and I love it, and that's so true. Great points you hit upon, of the self-love and also identifying that the journey that you're on is part of it. And you're right, your low moment, my moment brought us together truly. I mean, there's no other way to connect the dots besides our roads were meant to cross at some point. I don't know, and that's why sometimes you have to believe in fate. You have to believe in something, and faith removes limitations. And once you believe that the things that you went through is part of your journey to get you into a better place, you will be open to so much more things, and you will see the great things that are going to come into your life, as opposed to relying and falling back on the negative things that happen. And like I said earlier, you could be the guy right now, just talking about the things that happened to you, and that's why you're messed up and all that stuff. But instead, you took that low moment, that pain, and you brought it to the masses of the people that need it. Something so tangible, so easy to digest, and so now that truly this project and yourself are going to change millions of people's lives. I mean, and like you said, this podcast, this interview, this talk is going to be around for 50 plus 100 years from now, and somebody that's going to come upon it is going to go, wow, that is interesting, and they're going to go to goalie. And if goalie is still around, or if we're 1,000 years into the future, they're going to identify these things that are proven to work from these awesome coaches that you brought on to help that person in the time of need that they need assistance with. And the great thing is there's so many different backgrounds, and I'm excited as a user just to see what I can gain and grow from, because I am not the expert, the creme de la creme, ultimate person in the world. And I never will be, because I have that mindset of wanting to continuously grow. And obviously you do too. And the people that do have that, no, I am the smartest person in my job, career, I'm the best parent, all that stuff, you're in a fixed mindset, and that's not going to get you anywhere. You need to have that growing mindset to get you where you want to go. So, David, my man, very powerful stuff. Anything else that you feel that you need to add to entice people to come to goalie? Yeah.
I was actually talking to my best friend yesterday, and we were talking about this process when it started, because in the beginning of this process, or just before, we had a strange thing. We always encountered people who was like just liars and fraud, trying to fraud you, and just like, talking about money and la 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 la. And I was so shocked that, we were always encountering this strange type of energy. And then I was looking back at the last few years of my life, and I haven't encountered anyone that is, just trying to fraud you, or this strange type of energy. And I thought, why did all this shift? And I think that when we are sending out this energy that we have no idea where we're going, and that we are just like bouncing around in the universe, then we meet a lot of other people that are just have no idea where they're going and bouncing around in the universe as well. And a lot of those people you don't want to have in your life if you want to be successful. Right. So setting some really, really good goals, and I don't want them to be poisonous goals. I want them to be something that can nourish you and drag you all the way. Like one of the goals that I had was starting the process 10 years ago, was writing a book and meeting Oprah Winfrey. Sounds ridiculous, but it has pulled me towards this day today, and it keeps pulling me in all strange directions. So something that just makes you laugh, that makes you happy, and makes you funny. And one thing that I thought was the most hysterical with this is that now I don't set this like insane goal. I have, goals, of course, that is 5, 10, 20 years that would be nice to have. Sure. But I know that everything I need is always provided for. So all of the wants, they would never be provided for. So I don't need to run after all the things that I want anymore, because it never stops. It's like the ego, it would never be happy. And it wants everything, but it doesn't know what it needs. So when I kind of understood that everything I need in life, like my employee, my coworkers, my CEO, my family, my friends, they're all here. It makes life perfect. So every day now, my goal is to get into this mood, get into this energy, that I'm happy, that I'm, that I'm loved, that I'm safe. And from those emotions, and from that point of view, and from that grounded space, we can do anything. And that's what I do. I literally have done anything in my life, and I will keep doing it.
Oh, David, you are a powerful man. And I don't even know what to say to follow up with that. I mean, because it's just so true, and you're so passionate and genuine, and you are a very focused, determined individual into serving others, truly. I mean, you never talked once about, I want to make $1 million off of this project. I'm selling it for $4.99. It's not some crazy app, and you got to go now before prices raise or whatever. You are doing this, you're bringing together the best people to serve the people that need it. And there is no better mission statement, business plan than that. Once you serve the people that need it, great things will come into your life. And obviously you've been experiencing that since day one with meeting these people and talking to great coaches and learning a lot about yourself. Do you still want to meet Oprah Winfrey? Is that still one of your things? I don't know.
I really want to finish my book. I've been writing for that many, many, many years. And it was so funny. It was a book that started as a process of writing a book, and then it became a book about writing the book, about accepting my own story and being able to share it with people without totally breaking down or making actually, it's so strange, because many times when I told my story, I make it like I would rather just jump to the third family and miss two, so people would think I was normal.
Sure. And I could see that, right? You didn't want to go through all that pain again, right? Just go to the great moments. Correct.
But you don't want to, you don't want to see the people's eyes looking at you and, feel that you transfer them pain, because I'm happy, I'm okay. And that is also the funny thing, because this challenge that I said that I started this podcast with the goat that was killed, I turned it around just a couple of years ago, actually through the coaching, because I was in an NLP coaching session then, and I was like floating over the situation instead of looking directly at it, which could be very emotionally painful. And I was, instead of looking at how the goat got killed and how I was looking at this, I was looking at, why didn't you just move? Why didn't you just run away like every other normal animal would do if they get an axe to their head? Why are you just standing there with me? Sure. And my goat didn't actually move a centimeter. It was just so loyal. And instead of making this memory something that was so painful that I felt I was dragging a dead goat after me all the way, it became this crystal clear memory of this amazing loyalty and this amazing love and energy that is out there in all our animal species, but also in our, our fellow human beings. And it just became something that was just so dear to me, like a memory that I want to rather put up on the wall than bury down in hell.
Sure.
So everything is perspective, and any moment in any given time can be turned into something amazing and something that you can grow on. And you can always choose if you want anything to break you, or if you want to grow from it. And I know it's a pain in the ass when we're going through it, but the more pain sometimes, the more you actually will gain from it. So, and I'm a living evidence that it's actually true.
Sure. Last couple questions here. Obviously, you are very clear and comfortable with speaking of the past. When you were going through that heartache, back when you're younger, did you ever think you would be in such a wonderful state of mind currently? Like, did you look in your future and think, oh, man, it's going to be dark and dingy and it's going to be one heck of a bad roller coaster? Or did you really kind of know that greatness was going to come out of these dark moments?
It's a little bit strange, though, because I had some encounters where I think I was supposed to die, and I just felt this other force or whatever just saved me. I don't want to get too into it because it just gets so woo-woo.
Sure. But we'll save that for the next podcast, right?
It's just so strange. And it kind of like, one thing is believing there is something else, and another thing is like literally knowing. But I kind of always knew that everything will be okay. And it's only been at those times that where I've been like really struggling, when you over focus so much on walking that you just fall. I've done that a lot of times. I over focus so much on some things that I just lose all type of clarity, and I just get so much stuck. And I had 5 years in my home city and 5 years in another city where I just was stuck, where just running in circles and circles. And the only thing I had to do was change my mindset. It's just so ridiculously simple. And I think one of the things that I didn't understand, but I learned now, it was a guy who said to me, he was talking about some monks, and he said that one of these great leaders from one of these monks, he was this great mentor for them, and one of the monks came to him and said, I want to change the world, I want to save the world, where do I start? And he replied to him, every day, just go and wash your rice bowls, and then you can go and save the world. And I never got that memo, but I really understand it today, and I take great pride in that. Just doing these daily routines, the morning routine, going to the yoga, going to the gym, going to the daily walk, just doing everything that is the daily routines. Your practice of being happy is a daily practice. Your practice of taking care of you now is a practice you have to do now. You can't just push it into the future, into the past. And when you understand how much power you can get over your mind and how much power you can get over them now, it's like you feel you can literally just take over the world because everybody else is sleeping.
Right, literally. Right. Did it take a long time for you to get into that routine, to make that a part of your life, to build that habit of taking care of yourself and doing the simple things?
Oh my God, I'm almost 30. Yes, it takes me time, but if I just knew that there were coaches like this out there, it would be so much easier.
Right.
But it's the thing. It's a daily practice. Like every evening, I go there and I start discussing with myself. Do you really need dental floss? Do you really? You did it yesterday. No, it's no discussion. Just do
Do
those
it.
little things every day. You
Hmm.
know you don't want to sit there 1 year from now, 2 years from now in a dental office and crying because you have to remove a tooth. And I'm very like my smile is important because I laugh a lot. So
Right.
I don't want to remove any teeth.
Right, right. Yeah, I'm a big teeth guy too. And actually, when I was going through a dark part in my life, I kind of stopped taking care of my teeth hygiene. And I went into the dentist and I was like, oh, it was a regular checkup. And of course, I missed like the 6 month mark. So it was like a year and a half since my last appointment. I had 9 cavities, 9. And that's when it hit me. I'm like, I got to get out of this funk. I was like, I'm ruining myself from the inside out and I don't even know it. And so you're right. It's the small things that you need to do on a consistent basis. And like you said, there is no questioning it. Like, oh, no, I don't feel like it. No, you do it. That is the way to improve your life. So, man, powerful stuff, David. And truly, you are a blessing to this world. To think on such a grand scheme is amazing. And more people need to think like this instead of on their own little small mindset in terms of what they want to achieve. Why not spread the love and allow others to achieve great things in the process? And obviously that's why you started this project. Off of the business side, are you kind of shocked? I mean, running a full-fledged business like this, bringing together people, organizing time slots, flying around the world literally
That's the
is
thing. That's the thing, Jake. I have been so fortunate with the
yeah.
people I work with. I don't feel I've done anything. I have the most amazing CEO who has come
Sure.
in. Like, I had this drawing of this house I want to build, but I had no idea how to build it. I had an amazing UX designer, an amazing development team here in Copenhagen now, and the most amazing CEO who's organizing everything, who is structuring everything. She's literally structured the work of so many coaches as well. We call her the post-it queen, Elizabeth, and she's like literally just organizing everything with post-it everywhere. So I have just been so fortunate because I wouldn't have been able to do this alone. And that's the ironic thing, because before I wouldn't have trusted people. I would have been sitting in my room with this amazing idea, and I would be like, no, it's mine, precious
Right.
idea.
Right.
And it wouldn't have been going anywhere. But starting to collaborate and starting to just, reach out like you, just like reaching out, hi, we're having this project, are you interested? You never know. And suddenly we're all working together, we're all talking together, we're all sharing our best experience so we can all have a good laugh and grow.
Oh, for sure. And I've witnessed the post-it queen, Elizabeth. Wow. To be honest, I knew the power of Post-its and it's good, keeps tracks of stuff. But if you have a system of organizing your thoughts and writing down quick ideas and then reorganizing that Post-it into a flow, and that this can apply to anybody, the way you break down your day to dropping off the kids or your business or for eating on a daily day or day-to-day basis, Post-it notes are honestly magical because you can move it around, you can find a better flow, and it gives you a better visualization of what you need to accomplish for that day or task or whatever, and wow, it is a shocker. She is a very talented woman. That's for sure. That's for sure. So when is this project going to be out there? When are you going to get the first 15 coaches out online so people can dive in and start giving you guys feedback?
So during March, we are launching out the coaches. We're doing the beta test, which is going to be a little bit close, but at the mid of March and the end of March, we are going to launch all of the coaches, and it's going to be very exciting. And of course, it's most exciting because whoever is listening, if anyone are still listening,
They are. They are.
have
Wake
been
up. Right. All right.
I would have been amazed if I could see one of your videos, and I would be sure to, of course, send a personal video back to you if you send a video on how these coaching strategies affected your life. I would love to see you and to communicate with you. So please reach out to us if you are checking out goalie.com.
And just to re-clarify that, if I was a user, I would go onto goalie.com, check out. If I was to watch myself, Jake, do some awesome quick videos that I could implement in my life, and I go, whoa, Jake knows what he's talking about. I use it in my own life, and now I found a great output because of what he said. I can make a video and send it to you guys at goalie.com, and I can be featured on your website, correct?
featured on the website. You can also win amazing prizes, and you can also win a session with Jake. So,
Awesome.
And we really, really, because I think the best inspiration out there, and you know this more than anyone, Jake, is the inspiration we can give each other.
Yes.
And the motivation and the professional strategies come from the coaches, but the inspiration I really want to come from you guys who is listening and is doing this in your day-to-day life.
Cool. David, I'm really excited. Obviously, the people that are going to be listening really going to be loving this stuff. And because we are all a part of team, you know, what good is me or myself to be above you? Why not bring you up with me and to share with the world my ideas to inspire other people? And obviously, that's what we're doing at Goalie here. So before I ask you the last question, how can people get in touch with Goalie and also send videos and all that stuff? Are you on social media? Do you mind giving us that information?
Personal or just Goalie?
Personal or Goalie, it doesn't matter.
So if you go to goalie.com, you will find the webpage and you can sign up for our newsletter. And you can also find goalie.com on Facebook. We're starting to get some followers, which is kind of exciting. And if you want to send us a video, then there will be more information on the webpage, and it will also be sent to the newsletter if you signed up. So be sure to subscribe on our newsletter so that we can send you information about when we launch, send you information about all the amazing coaches, and remember, all the content is free of cost, so it's all there to serve you. So, and remember to give your email address so we can reach out if you want to send us a video with your testimonial and your personal change.
Cool. And the last question I have, obviously, you know, this podcast is called Operation Self Reset, changing the person you are to the person you want to become. What does a self reset mean to you?
Good question. It means so many things.
Sure, right? I know. Your whole conversation, the last hour we've been talking, is truly a self reset. But if you could boil it down to the meat and potatoes here, what would it be for you?
For me, the absolute reset, to set it in any type of situation, it would be going from a very chaotic mindset where the brain is overcooking with anger or confusion or doesn't know where to go. And if I, for example, do a yoga session or do a guided meditation or go on top of a mountain, any type of challenges, any type of questions that I had will then normally just have an answer. Because I do believe that anyone out there can have a totally normal reset if they just calm down the mind. And I remember a friend of me asking me, what do you think the entire world needs more of? And I said, if we just had a quiet room everywhere, and people could have just an hour of silence every day, I think everything in the world will go back to normal, because that's how our mind works. When things calms down, you will achieve the clarity and you will have all the answers. Cool. Just get the clutter away and you will have a reset. And when you have the reset, you can do whatever you want.
Awesome. David, that was good, man. You're good. Man, I appreciate your time, because obviously you're running a full-fledged business. You're trying to get this off the ground, and you're juggling a lot of things, and you took the time to share with us your story. How did you get the concept and the reason why you want people to better their lives? And that's what it is at the end of the day. That's what Goalie is all about. And truly, from the bottom of my heart and my family's heart, thank you for giving me the opportunity to join you on this platform. I'm very blessed and humbled to be a part of it, and I appreciate you for getting this going, the amount of effort and sweat and tears, and I don't know if there's any blood, but maybe some blood in there too.
There is always blood. I come from a country with a lot of Vikings, so there's always a little bit of blood.
Right.
But
so
it's good blood.
yes. But it's well worth it, and I know this platform is going to inspire hundreds of, if not millions of people. So I appreciate your time, David, and we will keep in touch.
We will keep in touch. Always a pleasure to talk to you, Jake.
Thanks again to David Vox for coming on the Operation Self Reset podcast. Really great information, great story. And David, if you're listening to this, I appreciate you really opening up your life and allowing us in for that hour there. It's really greatly appreciated. And for the listener, if you're interested in getting in contact with David, head on over to your Google machine and type in davidvox.com, DAVIDVOX.com. and there you can find out about David and all the projects that he is working on, like we talked about in just recently about goalie.com, GOALY.com, and also too very shortly here he does have a book that will be released called Goat Boy, and he has a couple of cool videos and some great audio there to really get you connected with David. And like I said, and probably what you felt through the conversation, he's an easy to talk to guy. He's fun, he's energetic, he really wants to make people laugh, and you know what, he's really enjoying life, and that's the type of people myself and you should be surrounding yourself around. Why are we always talking with the negative Nellies of the world? We need to focus on the positive people, and that's why I love talking to David, and hopefully you can get in contact with him and pick his brain and support the book and support goalie.com and all that fun jazz. And if you're interested in finding more about all the links, and if you're running right now and you don't have a pen and paper, head on over to operationselfreset.com/David, DAVID, Vox, VOX, and you will find everything that we talked about in this episode. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking time out of your day to improve yourself. You are truly one of the elite people in this world, listening to great information to keep yourself inspired and to keep yourself wanting better things in your own personal life. From the bottom of my heart, like I said, I love you. I appreciate the love and support. Can't wait to get in contact with you guys. If you guys have any questions for me directly, email me, jake@operationselfreset.com. Well, enjoy your week, and we'll catch you next week, Wednesday, for another great episode of Operation Self Reset.